Hello, welcome to Working Dragon Mystic, where we discuss real, metaphysical, and occult knowledge so that you can manifest real and tangible results in your life. This week, we're going to be talking about something that, especially at this time of year, because we're just finishing up like the first month of the new year, I think this is an important topic, not only for everyone in general life, especially those who practice any form of metaphysical, occult, magical, or spiritual practice. But this time of year, I think it's even more important that we understand it as we're really starting to set goals on what we're wanting to achieve throughout the new year. But again, this is something that is instrumental in every part of our lives, every day. Now, you're probably wondering what the heck I'm talking about that is so instrumental in everyone's life, that is so vital and important. Well, to be honest with you, it's discipline, responsibility, and accountability, which are cornerstones of self-mastery and self-empowerment. A lot of times, most of the time, unfortunately, these days, when I'm talking to somebody and talking about how they're going to make changes, how they're going to improve their life, a good 95% of the time, they are quick to tell me all the things that is not their fault, that they blame for their current standing, their current situation. Okay, I get that. I do. We can't control every single aspect of every single moment of our lives. There are some things that are just beyond our comprehension and ability to control. And I want to go ahead and apologize right now for the jet noise. This is the quietest they've been all day. So we're going to try and say sentences and paragraphs between passes as best we can. Now, with that said, however, I never hear anyone saying, this is what I did wrong. This is where I messed up. This is what I should have done. And therein, I think, lies the biggest drastic thing when it comes to self-empowerment and self-improvement. Now, earlier this month, I released a mirror meditation that was all about looking at the self. And that's what we're still doing here. We are looking at the self. When you sit down to begin to figure out how you can plan your year, what you can do better, and how you can work to make it better, really and truly, in my opinion, the first place you should look, and you should put 90% of your attention, is directly on you, what you can do. Absolutely avoid anything that is an excuse, a blame, or passing the buck in some way. So let me give you an example. Y'all know this year I plan to work on getting back in shape, okay? Now, I grew up in a generation where they told us high carb, low fat, fruit juice instead of soft drinks. You can drink all the fruit juice you want, all these things. When I did put on weight when I was younger, it was because I gave up soft drinks for fruit juice. And I couldn't figure it out. But I was doing everything they told me. Well, fruit juice is mostly sugar. And I was drinking it at the same rate I was drinking soda. And if you ever take a look, there's more sugar and calories in fruit juice than most sodas. So I actually was hurting my health, not helping it, by switching to fruit juice, because I can drink a lot more fruit juice in a day than I can soda. Now, once I started to get off fruit juice and give it up for other things, or just, well, as many of you know, started drinking coffee almost full time, my health started to improve. Now, other things about my diet, however, were not helping. In fact, the low-fat, high-carb was, at least for me, the exact opposite way to go. This further impacted my health negatively because, as I've shared on this channel before, I am epileptic. That is the exact opposite of how you want to eat if you're epileptic, but no one ever wanted to tell me that research. They just wanted to focus on my weight, get the weight off. But the problem was, everything was compounding, making me insulin resistant, making problems worse. Now, with that said, I am where I am today. Okay, fast forward to today. When I began to plan out this year, when I began to look at what I need to do to better my health. I looked at what I could do. None of these things, whether it be the doctors who push the low-fat, high carbs, whether it be the fruit juices, none of that actually matters. Yes, at that time, that was the info I had, and I was doing the best I could with the info I had. But blaming them, making excuses for where I am today will get me nowhere. In fact, if anything, it's going to lower my motivation. Absolutely just lower my motivation. Because we're focused on things we can't control. And that actually gives away our power. That disempowers us, not empowers us. And we're looking for self-empowerment and self-mastery. Well, if you're going to empower yourself and if you're going to master yourself, you have to focus on you. And you have to ask yourself what it is that you're going to do to change your situation regardless of the external circumstances. See that? External circumstances. Regardless of what those are, what are you going to do? So, what am I going to do? I have a plan in place. I've looked at it. I've looked at my research. I've checked the different things I can do to better my health, my diet. Many of you know I went more keto because that does very, very much help with epilepsy, and it's done wonders for me. I've been seizure-free for 10 years, and not all of it was on keto, but a good chunk of it was, and there's a few spots in there. My doctor's actually pretty sure keto was clutch to helping me. Now, we all know due to lack of being able to get out and about, we'll say it that way, a lot of people put on weight, myself included. But I was also compounding that with the fact that I'm used to doing very, very physical work. And when I started working Dragon Mystic and tried to get everything online, my practice became, it was basically a desk job almost. It's the closest thing to a full-time desk job I've ever had. I became sedentary. So normal activities that were burning off energy and calories and all that crap that I would normally do without thinking just disappeared. So I naturally am going to have to adjust to that, and I have. In fact, I actually lost weight over the holidays by just tweaking a few things that I do in my day-to-day routine. So I don't think meeting my goal for the New Year's challenge is all that unreachable anymore. I thought I set it too high. I don't think I did. Many of you know I hit my no-no number. My no-no number for me personally, this is no judgment on anyone out there. My no-no number for me was if I stepped on the scale and it hit 300 or over, that was a no-no number. I hit that. My training weight, used to be 250. So I'm way past that. My goal for the 6-month challenge is to get back there. I'm not going to blame the doctors. I'm not going to blame the dietitians. I'm not going to blame whatever idiots out there gave the advice they gave me. Okay? I'm not going to blame them. I'm going to look at me and just me, and I'm going to hold me accountable. I'm going to hold me responsible, and I am going to focus on my disciplines to make that change for me. No one else, for me. Now, if you are interested in the 6-month challenge and what that is, I've mentioned that a time or two, I realize. Working Dragon Mystic is actually doing a 6-month self-empowerment, self-improvement, self-mastery challenge. No new year, no new me. We're taking where we are and we're moving forward. We're not trying to erase, because the past made us who we are. We need to accept that. We need to hold on to that. We can't ignore that. And if you want to join in, there is a link in the About section for the Discord. Pop into the Discord server, let myself or one of the admin know what it is you're focused on, what it is you're going to be working on. It can be anything to do with your magical practice, your health, perhaps you're working to build a business, whatever it is you're doing to help master and improve your life personally. Let us know, because we have a special section of the Discord server set aside just for this. And when you let us know what you're working on, you'll get the tag to access it. And we're all going to be helping to motivate each other. Myself, I'm going to be sharing spell work and stuff I'm doing, and what I'm actually doing in my private life to help me reach my lofty goal, which is actually going to be a little over 50 pounds that I plan to lose in Yeah, 6 months. But it doesn't have to be something so lofty and crazy. That's just my personal goal. But we do have a lot of people doing this. And the thing is, at the end of the 6 months, those who have actively been participating and have actively been working toward their goals, we're going to have prize drawings. We are going to do a giveaway. There's going to be prizes at the end of this rainbow. Now, myself and the admin that take part, we don't qualify for prizes. Don't worry about that. Only the other individuals are qualified for prizes. But if you are interested in joining us, by all means, follow that link in the About section to the Discord and let us know. We'll get you into the challenge. It's not too late to get started. Now, with that said, you all do know I'm working very heavily on this, but I do have to hold myself responsible and accountable. Self-empowerment and self-mastery is about that. And by looking at the things I do and examining me, I have found I have many, many flaws that contribute to the problem. Now, I may not be able to change those other factors, but I can change me. I can look at me. And that's what I've done. I've been altering those things. And this is true in all aspects of life, even finances. I know people who daily tell me that they don't have money, that their job doesn't pay them enough, and they're actually probably the highest paid person where they work. I'm thinking of one person in particular. But if you look at their spending habits, you quickly realize there might be more to this than just how much you're making. We don't examine ourselves. And in Magick, in the occult, and self-mastery, we have to be what we examine. We are the single factor. And I would challenge each and every one of us this year, and I am including myself in this too, because though I know this, I need to do more of it. Avoid anything that sounds like you're blaming another person, accusing another person, or holding someone else responsible for some aspect of your life. Okay? Hold yourself to account. Hold yourself responsible. Look to yourself and ask yourself what you personally can do in the physical world, or whether it be magically, to better your situation. Okay? Now, I know this is going to sound crazy, and it sounds like self-accusing, not everything's your fault, and I get that, but, again, that comes down to what we can and what we cannot control, and what we can and cannot master. Mastering the self is hard enough without trying to master the infinite world beyond us as well. Focus on the self. Bring it in. That's more controllable. That's more doable. And if you start focusing that terminology, focusing that mindset on what you can do, everything comes down. In fact, I know a lot of people who suffer from depression and anxiety. One of them, very in particular, actually told me that they thought this might trigger anxiety. And I told them I understood that. I understood how you could think that it might. But let's give it a try and see what happens. This young lady called me like a week later and said, Drake, I don't believe it. And I was like, what? She's like, I haven't had anxiety all week. I was like, okay, that's wonderful. What do you mean? Turns out, by looking at the world and focusing on what she could control and accepting what she couldn't, so many of the factors that would normally give her anxiety and panic attacks just fell away. She took a majorly massive step towards self-mastery that week. And over the last couple of years, I've watched this young lady continue to progress. It's been wonderful. There are days she messes up, she drops the ball occasionally, but you know what? She's okay with that too. And here's why. Part of this, when we examine ourselves, when we look at ourselves, a lot of people want to go and play the blame game, the self-blame game. You know, they want to look in the mirror. Drake, you're an idiot. Drake, you're an asshole. Drake, you're a horrible person. No. Drake, you're a failure. No. We look at failure as the absolute end. We look at falling down as the absolute end. It's over. As if all movement has stopped. Failure is not the end. Failure is a point along a journey. And if you are to walk a 100-mile journey and you trip and fall at mile 25, you don't magically reset to 1. You're still sitting there at mile 25. Yeah, you failed to do it in a single walk. Gotcha, understood that. Stand up, dust yourself off. Get your bearings and start walking from 25. Even if you trip at 50, you've still made progress. If you don't trip at 50, go to 75. Maybe you'll go all the way. Who knows how many times we're going to trip and fall along the journey. It's part of life. Those trip and falls, they're necessary. They're learning experiences, but we can only learn from them if we take the time to look at ourselves and ask, why did we trip and fall? Where did we lose our footing? How can we do better as we move forward? See, I don't even use the word next time. I just, as we move forward, how can we do better? One thing I personally struggle with is I will load my plate up with all kinds of projects. It's like, I can do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I have great ideas. And I have this giant mountain the size of Everest of great ideas and work that I want to accomplish, and I have only a small time frame to do it. Newsflash, I can't do it. And I'm running around like a basket case trying to get everything done, and it is stressful. My wife has seen it. She makes jokes. That's where some of the gray in my goatee is coming from, because I'm overdoing it. Because I'm self-employed, so I don't have a boss there to, delegate things to other people and not just my dumb ass. But that's okay. See, by accepting this is something I do, by looking at it and understanding this is something I do, I have already got a reminder on all my work folders and stuff of this exact thing, to remind me to pace myself, to remind me to not take on too much. And one of the things that I am doing this year is I'm actually breaking up and bracketing very specific amounts of projects to work on. So if a project is in the docket, if it's taking up one of those spots in that week, until that project is done, that is its spot. So for example, if I go to record a class this year, I have time set aside specifically for recording classes for the online school, which, if you haven't seen it, go check it out over at workingdragonmystic.com. You'll see the online courses tab. Just click it, check it out. We got several classes. We just released a tarot class even. But that is the spot. That is the area where I will work on classes. That and only that. YouTube here has allowed me the privilege and the ability to be able to talk to so many of you and reach so many of you and share this information. So naturally, I have set aside time to continue the YouTube channel, because I think really this is the backbone of what I do and allows me to reach so many people and help them. True, I can't go in as in depth as I do in some of the online courses due to some of the guidelines of the YouTube community. But those small limitations are drastically offset in my mind by the fact that I do get to reach so many people and have an opportunity to try and help so many people find their path to self-mastery. Remember, this ain't how does Drake do it. This is me sharing information for you to find yours and your path and your way. So I am grateful for that, and I have that set aside. Of course, got to set time aside for house cleaning. Got to set time aside for spending with family. I also got to set time aside to be in the Discord server to answer questions and help out there, because the admin who, basically built and run that server, because they believe in what we do here, I don't want them to have to do that alone. And that is a wonderful community. It's a great way to be able to reach out and connect with all of you all as well. But I can only do this if I look at myself and I hold myself truly accountable. Now, again, I have to reiterate this. Hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself responsible. But don't blame yourself. There is a difference here. You can take responsibility for something that's happened. You can hold yourself accountable for the place where you are in your life or something that's happened without blaming yourself. See, one of the things is mistakes do happen. You may do everything perfect on a camping trip or a hike, and you're going to trip. you're going to fall. You're going to lose a piece of equipment. Something's going to happen. Life happens. You can't really control all those random possibilities. Look at the laws of magic video. But by examining yourself and doing everything you can to improve yourself and what you do, and to hold yourself for account and to examine situations, even if it's an accident, ask yourself, what can I do next time to potentially avoid this? Let's go with the hiking example. If you trip and fall over a rock, okay, that rock could have been completely unseen, could have been hidden. Oftentimes, in those cases, hikers, campers, the like, will remind themselves they need to just be mindful of the trail. They need to be mindful of their footing. It was an accident. Technically, they don't even know that being mindful would have truly stopped it. But they know that by showing that mindfulness, they could have potentially prevented it. And going forward, it will lessen the likelihood that they're going to trip and fall, rather than increase it. Because you will definitely trip and fall more often on a trail if you're not mindful of those things. So bringing that mindfulness back to us, bringing it back to what we can control, really does help. And once you get a habit of this, what I've also noticed is once you make a habit of taking responsibility, that self-discipline, it really begins to snowball into self-empowerment and self-mastery. And I do mean snowball, especially when you have a magical practice. It will snowball in anyone's life. It really will, because they suddenly begin to really identify and just naturally see the little tiniest things that they can tweak and adjust to improve themselves, improve their life, improve what they're doing, and they begin to excel at practically everything they start to approach and everything they enjoy doing. But when you add magic to that, that snowball just starts rolling even faster. All right, so come on with me this year and let's do everything we can. Let's try to get through this whole year without using any terminology where we're blaming someone else, blaming an event, blaming a thing, blaming some abstract or some specific. I don't care how. We're not blaming it. We're not passing the buck to some random thing. Well, it's not my fault. I got fat. I just drank too much orange juice and I was told it was healthy. You know what? I still put the orange juice in my mouth. We're not going to blame. We're not going to make excuses. None of this. Let's look at it instead and say, this happened. What can I do to not do this again? What did I do or that may have contributed to this event? Is there something I could adjust? And you know what? If an event happens in our lives and we do sit down and examine it and we don't find any way that we contributed that caused the event, okay, good. Move along. Continue that self-mastery. You won't find something you did every time, and that's okay. But by keeping it only on you and keeping that focus on your self-discipline, your responsibility, your accountability, that drastically changes the events and your perception. And it gives you an accountability and a responsibility and a mastery of yourself that will carry over to every aspect of your life and will allow you to better yourself. Now, from this position, if you keep that focus on you, even when talking to others, since you naturally are already looking at what you're doing, it's easier to talk to others too and get their opinions, because a lot of people these days, when we're talking to people, like if there's a disagreement, our entire argument's on what the other person did wrong, what the other person did wrong, what did you do wrong. And this is why you'll never see a true apology. There's rarely anymore do you see an apology that doesn't have a but, what, if, why, some kind of stipulation on it. They can't look at the issue. They can't say, I'm sorry I did this. Period. Done. Heartfelt. No stipulations attached. And by looking at ourselves, holding ourselves responsible, accountable, and focusing on that mastery, that self-mastery and that self-empowerment, it changes the entire dynamic. We become better people, we become more approachable, we gain better people skills, our relationships improve. Every aspect of your life will improve with this. I've seen it time and time again. But this is a video that I thought was very important for me to do. It's been on my mind a lot, both for myself, and there's been a few individuals who I work with that I've discussed this with. And I really thought this was a very, very important topic that we should cover here on the channel and share it with you all so you can decide if this approach would be right for you. I would suggest giving it a try. Try it for a whole month. Just see how it can help you out and improve a few things. All right. That's about all I got on this little ranting. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope this information helps you. If you haven't already, do check out workingdragonmystic.com, our website. Click the online course button. You can also find a link to the online school below this video. Pop over there, see if there's any of those online courses that you would like to take to challenge yourself and your progress in the new year. We will be adding more courses in the future. That is by no means complete, okay? And stay tuned. Hopefully this channel is going to see a very good year. We got some ideals that we're hoping to roll out. And until next time, I'm Drake. This has been Working Dragon Mystic. Take care. Bye-bye.